Good day, viewers. Thank you for tuning in to our weekly video regarding our balance in our mind, body, spirit, and community. I'm John, and today my guest is Griselle Feisthammel. Welcome to Balanced. Well, good afternoon. Thank you, viewers, for tuning back into our Balanced series. And today we're continuing our series on keys to balance. And last week we talked about body balance. So today our guest, Griselle Feisthammel, is going to help us talk about mind balance. Griselle, thanks for doing this today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to do this.
This is awesome. We love giving all of our counselors and staff the opportunity to speak into the things that they work with so you can help all of us. And today we're talking about mind balance. And Griselle, it's pretty interesting that last week with Leah, we talked about body balance and how the two work together. So let's start there. How important, how powerful is the mind and how it, impacts our bodies?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is anxiety. So like when you have that nausea, you feel like vomiting, or depression, when you get so depressed and then you just start to feel sick. PTSD, sometimes people with PTSD complain about having headaches, placebo effects. And then we have women who want to be pregnant so badly that they start to have pregnancy symptoms without being pregnant.
Yeah. So these are examples of just how powerful the mind is, right? Yeah. So when we are trying to achieve balance in our minds, there's several ways, we can go about that, and we're just going to touch on them, but help us hear some ways and learn some thoughts about, the thought life, as you call it, right?
Yeah, so the thought life is my way of explaining how our mind affects us. So our thought life is what we tell ourselves. So do you tell yourself negative things? Do you tell yourself positive things? And how do those negative things affect your mind, which also then affect your body, as we mentioned before? So some techniques I personally use in sessions are visualizations, body scan, positive reframing.
What's an example of positive reframing, just to help everybody?
So positive reframing, an example would be, let me think. I'm trying to think of a specific example. Let's say someone comes into my office and they say, I had the worst day ever. And I'll tell them, was it really all that bad? Could you at least name one good thing that happened today? And then they'll say, well, not counting for today, but they could say, well, it was a sunny day. Right. And I'll say, so it wasn't all that bad. And you're like, yeah, you're right. It wasn't all that bad. There was some good.
Yeah. So that can help them relax, I imagine, right? And let a little stress out because they've been challenged to think about it differently. Right.
Yep. And then my favorite way to explain it is bringing up the movie Pollyanna, which is an old Disney movie, and they have the glad game, right? So for every bad thing that happens or bad thought you have, you would play the glad game and think of something that you can be glad about in the situation.
And earlier, before we were just chatting before we started recording, you mentioned the gate of thankfulness. Tell us about that.
So I kind of stole that from my church.
Okay.
But I love using it in session. So the gate of thankfulness is, I have clients visualize a place of hope. So things that they're hopeful for and they want in their life. And I tell them, after they describe it to me and what it looks like, I'll tell them, okay, now in order to get to that place of hope, you see this gate in front of you, and that's the gate of thankfulness. Can you tell me all the things that you are currently thankful for? And then they tell me a list of things that they're thankful for. And then I'll say, now, do you feel that hope? Do you feel like you're in that place? And a lot of clients say that they feel better. They feel like they're closer to that place of hope because, when you have that negative thought life, you tend to be in a place of despair.
Right.
But when you have a positive thought life, you tend to have more hope.
Hmm. That's really good. That's helpful. It helps me, so it must help other people. Uh, Now, next week, we're going to be talking with some people, some pastors actually, about spirit balance. And let's just sort of make a connection there. We just made some body mind balance connections. So I know you're just as passionate about helping people in their spirit. So, what are some ways that our mind and our spirit can work together in achieving balance?
So then I would call that the spiritual thought life. Like, what do you believe? Your core beliefs about the spiritual. What do you believe about God? Who do you believe God's character is?
Hmm.
What do you believe about spirituality or even religion? Do you believe God is a hateful God? Do you believe that God is a loving God?
Hmm.
Do you believe that God is this wonderful, amazing parent? Or do you believe God is a neglectful, angry parent?
Hmm.
And that thought life, your spiritual thought life, really ties into your spirituality.
Yeah. And so ways for us to achieve balance in our mind and with our spirit, what suggestions do you have about that?
So I always tell clients to explore their spirituality because a lot of the times their thought life, I used the word core beliefs a few seconds ago,
Yeah.
and core beliefs are pretty much beliefs that you developed throughout your life. So from your experiences, from things that your family of origin has taught you. So I always tell clients, a lot of these things that you believe in come from experiences you've had and what people have told you. So I always encourage them to explore it themselves. So let's say your client's Christian. So I'll tell them, read the Bible for yourself.
Hmm.
I'm not going to tell you what to believe in because that's not my job. But I will, if you need assistance looking for scripture or learning how to look into scripture, I will help you do that. But look for the answers yourself. So if you were taught that God was an angry God, read about God's character and tell me if the God you read matches the God that you believe.
That's really good. And helping everybody to think through all these different things, ways to achieve that balance in your thought life. This is, I don't know that people understand, and this is why we're doing this. We're having these conversations of the value of the balance of your mind, your body, your spirit, and how helpful that is to all of us. So thank you for sharing this today. Any closing thoughts you want to share with us about mind balance?
Just be mindful of what you're thinking about. Your brain's listening.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing with us today, Griselle. Thanks for watching, viewers, and we'll be back next week. And our theme next week is the keys to spiritual balance. And so we hope that you'll join us. Have a great afternoon.